Women Taking the Lead, episode 67.
There's 7 billion people on Earth for that specific purpose because we're not supposed to do everything ourselves. But there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. And help comes in a lot of different forms. You cannot do it yourself.
Hello, my name is Jody Flynn and welcome to Women Taking the Lead, where we are all about creating blasts of inspiration to help you overcome self-doubt so you can lead with confidence, integrity, and a sense of humor. Head over to womentakingthelead.com to get the solutions to your top 5 leadership challenges. Now, your future awaits, so let's get started. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. I'm here with Sara Speicher, a wife and a mom of 2 little ones who helps women entrepreneurs make greater impact and serve their clients better. Integrating business consulting and coaching, this international best-selling author's specialty is helping mom business owners who are stuck due to a change in life or shift in business to make more money, have more time, and more fun. Sara, who holds an MBA degree and is a former internationally recruited NCAA D-1 basketball player. And at 6'1", she still rocks her high heels. My goodness. She and her husband are also avid travelers. Now, Sara, that's only a little intro for everyone. So tell us more about you and your own humble beginnings.
Judy, thank you, first of all, for having me. I'm super thrilled to be here. My humble beginnings, well, as you already mentioned, thank you. I grew up in Europe, in Slovenia, which is a teeny tiny country. I think it's the size of New Jersey with 2 million citizens, I believe. So I grew up in a town of 10,000 where everybody knew everybody knew your story, everybody knew what you were supposed to be doing, and God forbid you stood out.
It keeps you honest, right?
So just being at 6'1", I remember at one point my grandma turned to me at an event and said, "Gee, you're just like a live wall here. No one can see through you." I was like, "Oh, gee, thanks. Now that I'm already having complex about height, thank you so much." Yeah, it really was a kind of picturesque childhood that I remember. It was definitely about experiences. And as a family, we never had a lot in terms of materialistic things, but we are really connected and we still are. And it was, like I said, just about the experiences. And recently, I'm starting to realize here, the disconnect that I'm feeling now, running my own business, having my own family, that I'm striving towards materialistic things as opposed to focusing on what's really core value to me, which is building experiences for my family. So I know we're going to get to that later on, but it was just something that came to mind. And speaking of humble beginnings.
Yes. And I think a lot of moms you find themselves in that place, being torn between, the core values and the raising the family and also, being out in the world and expressing themselves and, and to some extent for some women, because it's no longer a one salary family. That's almost unheard of these days. Also making money to provide for the family as well.
Absolutely.
Yes. And Sara, you've clearly had success in your life. You've definitely gained some confidence, but take us back to a time when you were playing small and you may not have been aware of it at the time. A lot of times it's in retrospect that we look back and go, why did I undervalue myself? Or why did I think I was not capable? Share with us the story and the lessons you learned.
Oh my goodness. I wasn't really thinking about it a lot for the longest time because the type of person I am, I believe that everything happens for a reason and that from every, not necessarily a failure, but a stumble block, something better happens and something bigger emerges. But if I think about playing small, I remember a couple of times when, especially through athletics, I had some great successes and with academics, I was always told, don't brag about it. No one cares, which essentially it's true, no one cares. But for the self-confidence, like, okay, whatever, it's fine, I'll just forget about it. And I have to tell you that has been an issue later on as a business owner, or even before when I was trying to find a job. I did not have that self-confidence about, to stand up for myself. I remember being in a job interview, my first ever job interview, and I was sitting across from the recruiter and he's asking me, what do I want to do and the story, and the scared college grad, no experience. You're sitting there, you're just hoping for them to say, sure, come back. I said, well, you just want to have a job like everybody else, right? And I remember sitting there and trying to come up with an answer as opposed to saying, you know what, I don't need this. Thank you very much for your time, and walking out. I know that today this is exactly what I would do. But then later on, having my own business, that playing small was really holding me back for a really long time, because it was the fine line between bragging and using that experience and knowledge and accomplishments and everything else for marketing and credential purposes to establish the credibility within the community. So that was something that I really had to learn and work on.
I think that's something that a lot of women struggle with, is how to self-promote without it feeling like bragging.
Yes.
Because the moment it feels like bragging, we don't want to do it anymore. And I'm wondering, where does that come from? Because this is one of the clear issues, I think, that divide. I think some things that come up on this show is, well, some men experience this, a large majority of women do. I think in this one, there's a clear designation, because men have a much easier time listing out their accomplishments, and they tend to be more comfortable with it. There's no issue with men saying, well, I've done this and I've done that. And then and in fact, when you meet men, in a networking environment or an event, they're more than willing to tell you everything that they've accomplished. And, they kind of give you their resume comfortably, but women don't. And I'm wondering why that is.
Who knows? I think in part it's the way we are raised, in part is the way we're wired. And just from athletics, for example, I remember guys could have the biggest fight at the practice. After the practice, they would go out, they would hang out together. Oh my goodness, with girls, you didn't pass the basketball since I played basketball. You didn't make a pass to one person. 2 weeks later, she was still holding a grudge. I'm just get it over with. And I think it's the same here. We just analyze too much and we think too much. And just this morning, I had a conversation with somebody, and she said how she would sit down to write something, and halfway through, she's like, I don't think this is valuable enough, and she deletes it. So I think it happens to all of us. It's just something that we need to cautiously work on.
And you bring up a good point, Sara. What it made me think of is because women tend to be more focused on relationships, right? And we take things a little more personally. We're kind of taught to focus on other people,
Absolutely.
Right? And find out about more of the people, let other people get the limelight, right? Pass the ball, right? So other people can share in the experience. And I think sometimes when, we're self-promoting, we feel like that's not what we're supposed to do. We're actually supposed to be promoting other people, because this is the one thing I know women are very good at. They are very good at promoting other people.
Yes.
And talking up other people. In fact, they'll say, I'm good at it. I have no problem with it. I can sell other people's stuff. But when it comes to selling my own stuff, I get tongue-tied. My throat closes. I feel weird. It's such an interesting phenomenon. And it's something I'll definitely unpack more as time goes on to really get at the heart of it and help people really get past that. But I think the thing is realizing that, especially when you're a business owner, you have to self-promote in order to help other people. Right? In order for other people to be able to utilize your services, you do have to have that credibility and visibility, and they'll approach you if you've been self-promoting.
Yes, and then definitely is a fine line even within self-promoting. How do you self-promote? And I think adding value, as cliche as it sounds, it's really a difference between saying, I'm an expert in XYZ versus let me share with you XYZ so you can apply it too. And here it is. I'm putting it out there. It's the best content that I have, and I'm giving it for free because I'm so confident that once you become a client of mine and you work for me and you pay me for that, we're going to get you even further, higher, deeper, whatever it is. So I think that's the fine line that we are still all working on. Where's the bragging and self-promotion and serving others and just being authentic? I think the big thing recently that I'm noticing, at least in my industry, is that authenticity, um, where what do you do that really feels true to yourself, even sharing the most deepest, hardest, terrifying moments of your life, and where are you just faking it to making it.
Yes, yes. And too, like for those women who are in the corporate environment, you also have to self promote, right? In order for the people around you to know what you're capable of and that you can take on bigger projects, you can take on more responsibility, you can be promoted, that sort of thing. So this doesn't just live in the business world, it's also in the office environment as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes. Okay, Sara, now share with us a time in your journey when you had a wake up call. Take us back to that moment and share with us the steps that you took that led to your success.
There were actually two. The first one is in athletics, and the second one is business parenting relations. So the first one I remember, for the longest time, playing basketball at a high level came really easy to me. It wasn't until my sophomore year in college when things turned not so pretty. I know during the first summer home, I gained a tremendous amount of weight. I knew exactly what was happening, what was waiting for me, being another year away from my family in a country that I only knew a couple of people. I was still learning the language. And there were some issues at home as well. So, I really emotional eater that I am, it was not a good thing. And then I remember my coach calling me into the office and said, I can't start you anymore. You're gonna be a number. You're gonna be a backup player. And my first reaction was, "Oh, awesome! Yeah, that other girl, she really deserves it. She practices really hard. That's fine." As opposed to, "What the heck are you talking about?"
Right.
But it wasn't until I finally decided that, I don't know, something just had to click. As with everything else, you could be told I don't know how many times until it clicks. Something within you, it's nothing gonna happen. So I signed up for counseling in school. It was pretty much just having a conversation, talking to myself with somebody else in the room listening. And I know that was really helpful. And then I called the conditioning coach, strength and conditioning coach. I said, "Can I do something extra? I really have to get back in shape." But what it did was, as soon as I started to work extra on myself, my confidence went up because I knew all the work I was putting in. It resulted in a better game. It resulted in results in school that I was getting, and it affected the relationships around me. And then a couple of years, well, nearly 10 years later, um, I was going through the same thing after my second daughter was born. I had this successful business. I had two amazing kids at home. I still have, obviously, the most loving husband anyone else can ever ask for. Amazing in-laws, not to mention my incredible family overseas. But something just wasn't right. And later on, I discovered that I battled postpartum depression. And something's not clicking. You know exactly what you're doing, but you just can't snap out of it. um, but my wake-up call then was when I was on a call with somebody who was trying to sell me their workout program. I think it was a 3-month workout program. The special offer on the call was, I think, 15,000. That was about to go up to 25,000. And I remember my thought wasn't, "Oh my God, this is outraging," but it's like, "Oh, I could actually totally do that. Let me get back to my business to make sure I can actually afford it without putting on a credit card." I I did not end up buying the program, but it was just that it kind of put things into perspective. It almost put a value on my health again, just seeing those numbers. Um, and it allowed me to really snap out of the self pity, the whatever story I was telling myself, to really shift into higher gear, take a look at my girls, take a look at my family overseas that I couldn't wait to go see, and it's like, okay, I got to do something. This clearly isn't working. This is where I've been lacking. I haven't moved my ass for a couple of months. Time to start moving again.
Mm-hmm.
And things just start to fall back in place slowly. Of course, nothing happens overnight. Um, but it was just another one of those, okay, it really is up to you whether you continue feeling sorry for yourself, covering under covers, or faking in front of everybody the smile. Oh yeah, everything's so perfect, and coming home and losing it pretty much. Or you know what? I'm gonna actually do something about it, and you cannot stop me, even if you try.
Yeah, what I love about both of the stories that you shared is when you were struggling, you reached out for help, right? You didn't, right? There's always that time where we're trying to figure it out at first, right? We all try to be strong. We try to be independent. We try, especially as women, we try not to burden other people with our problems and that sort of thing. So we try to do it. But you didn't spend too much time doing that. Like when you realized, like, okay, this isn't good. I'm not valuing myself. I'm not stepping up for myself. This is not who I normally am. In the college years, you reached out to a counselor and to a strength and conditioning coach. So you didn't have to go it alone. You got help and support. And the same thing, even in your business and in your motherhood, even though you didn't hire the health coach that you were talking to, that was the light bulb moment to realize, like, all right, am I valuing my health? Am I taking care of myself? And then you started to reach out to your community and to do something about getting back on track.
Absolutely. And, as a business owner, obviously nothing can happen until you have cash flow to support certain things. So it was very clear to me that if I ever wanted to hire a health coach, first I need to be able to afford one. So it forced me to backtrack into things, what was happening, where was I stuck, what wasn't working, and then reach out to experts who are able to help me in each and every field. And yeah, definitely, I am a firm believer that we were not put on this earth. Actually, one of my former clients said that very nicely. There's 7 billion people on earth for that specific purpose because we're not supposed to do everything ourselves.
I love it.
And obviously I'm stealing her quote. Yeah, it is hard. It is hard to admit to yourself that you actually do need help. But there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. And help comes in a lot of different forms. To some, it is reaching out to a coach. To some, it's enlisting a cleaning person in the house. To some, it's getting a gardener. To some, it's getting a babysitter. To some, it's, I don't know, getting a therapist. It really depends on your needs, where you are, what you need. But yeah, you cannot do it yourself.
Yes, it's figure out what you need and then ask for help. Love that. And Sara, what I want everyone to get is there's no one way to lead. We're all different. We have different personalities, different strengths. And so we're going to lead differently. And that is a good thing. It's like like the quote from your client, there's 7 billion people on the earth. Like there's no way we're all going to do it the same way. Like we're all going to do it a little differently. So Sara, how would you describe your leadership style?
That is a great question. And I had to actually look up the leadership styles. Thank goodness for Google. I would say it's a combination of different types. Definitely, they all are positive. I always put people first. Trying to lead by example, if only possible. And then also the what's so-called visionary and democratic combination. Having a vision and trying to get people to follow. And then really getting the feedback. I'm huge on getting feedback from people. What do you think? What's your opinion? What's your expertise? And of course, there are moments like everybody else when you kind of feel that you're commanding, and you're like, don't look at me, just do what I tell you to do, especially sometimes. But that's just a short term. It's not really a long-term solution.
Yes, I think we've all gotten there too. And especially people who are parents will be able to relate to that. Like, don't ask me why, just do it.
Exactly.
It just needs to get done, right? Right. But, you take that step back, and, it's just self-awareness, right? We're all going to have those moments where we're going to look back and go, okay, that was not me at my best, right? But if you're self-aware and you can reflect on those moments, you can actually learn a lot from them. And it's huge to get that feedback from people too. Like, how are things going? What could be better? What could we get rid of? That sort of thing. That's great.
Absolutely. And speaking of self-awareness, that's another thing that I only started to work on since my 3.5 decided to go on 35 all of a sudden. And she's very opinionated, very strong-willed. And I noticed she was pushing some of my buttons and I would snap, and I figured, you know what, that's no way to go. There's reason. So with help of another friend of mine who happens to be an amazing parenting coach, we're like, why don't we chat a little bit? So yeah, she really helps me to uncover what those patterns are. And it always goes back to childhood, even though another cliche. So yeah, that's self-awareness, and then just going from there and getting my husband's input, because we were brought up in a very different way. So always finding that balance when it comes to parenting. But then, of course, he works out at home. I'm home all the time with my home office and business and the kids around. Mm-hmm. So sometimes it does get overwhelming. I have to admit that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But it's good to be finding those outlets and the balance, because nobody does it perfectly. All you can do is your best.
Yes.
All right, Sara, what is one thing that you're working on right now that you're really excited about?
Oh, my goodness. Well, since I just came back from Europe, where my girls and I went to Europe, and we spent almost a month with my family, a lot of things happened on a personal side that really got me thinking on a business side. So when I came back, I'm fully charged, energetic, ready to conquer the world. So I'm really taking another look into my business to see what could be improved, because some of the personal things that took me away from my business really uncovered some of the flaws. And even though it's something that I consistently work with my clients to fix in their businesses, that saying about cobbler's shoes. Yeah, it's one of those things. So I'm super excited about fixing those and take the business to the next level and having more time to spend with the girls.
And I'm obviously I'm a coach too, and I'm in frequent conversation with other coaches. And one thing, I think that as coaches, we recognize is we usually coach around the areas where we really struggled with and stumbled, right? Yes. But we figured out, right, how to overcome those things. And now we turn around and we coach others how to do them really well. Now, there's this myth out there, and I think most coaches hold it themselves more than other people hold it for them. There's this myth that because we coach people in a certain area that we always are perfect in that area, right? And we never stumble and we never have hard times. And that's not true, because usually those areas are areas where that's our kryptonite, right? It's our Achilles heel. It's easy for us to fall back into those patterns. But what we have is a system and a toolkit where we can get ourselves out quickly.
Absolutely. Right? Yes, absolutely. I'm so glad you brought this up. But then on the other hand, a lot of coaches that I also talk to as a consultant, they come to me and say, I don't know, I can't help my clients. I cannot help myself. And there's another one. I forgot who the person was who said that, but it was brilliantly formed. And they said, if you were the best neurosurgeon in the world, you still cannot perform a brain surgery on yourself. Right. I was like, yeah, that's it.
That's it right there, right? And as long as you know the process, right, to get better, to overcome this certain area, you're still an expert. You're still qualified, right? And like we said, we all make mistakes. You just got to do your best. When you've identified like a weakness in your business or a certain area, then you take it on, you tackle it, and you get it done.
Absolutely. It's only one thing, if I may add, it could be way off track here. But since we're on the topic, if anybody out there is considering getting yourself a coach, go for it, do it. But I would just advise you to check their track record, because over the past couple of years, I've noticed a trend of a lot of people popping up who have one achievement, really successful on their own case, and they call themselves a coach. But coaching is not something that is kind of a cookie cutting approach to every single person. So they have to have a track record in different scenarios that applies to different people in different, like I said, it could be going way off course here, but just wanted to put it out there just so you're not disappointed at the end.
No, I think you make a good point, Sara, because it's not just that the coach has had success in their areas. Have they been able to guide other people
Yes.
to success, right? Because, and it goes back to not everyone who's good at math can teach math.
Yes.
Right. Right. And oftentimes it's the opposite. It's the people who struggled with math and then were able to conquer math can then tutor other people because they know how to break it down and do it simply. I've never been able to tutor anyone at math because it just came easily to me. So I would never put myself out there as a math coach, right? because I probably could not lead anyone else to success. So no, that is a great point. All right, Sara, now I'm going to do a quick leadership roundup. So tell us, what is one practice that helps to make you a better leader?
Trusting my gut.
Oh, that's huge, huge. And what is one book that you would recommend to a woman to help her develop her leadership?
Go to the library or to Amazon and get yourself Circling the Sun by Binka Pulko. It is not a business book, but this woman is amazing. I'm happy to call her a friend of mine. She's also from my country, but it wasn't until we both moved to the States that we connected. She woke up one morning, early 30s, and decided, you know what? I'm done with my job. I'm done with my life. I want to circle. I want to go around the earth across all continents on a motorcycle. Well, she didn't even have a motorcycle. She didn't even have the license. She did it. She even took the motorcycle down to the Antarctica. And she's a Guinness record holder. And the book is it's such an inspiration. And the way it's written, it's hilarious. She talks about all the anecdotes, fortunate and unfortunate one. Even how she had to, I think she married, at least put it on a marriage license to be the first woman who rode solo through Saudi Arabia, because women are not supposed to drive there. So on paper, she was married to her motorcycle, BMW. It's a hilarious read, and I would recommend it just to get you out of the business rut a little bit and into that inspiration, gutty, you know what, I'm going to do it. You can't stop me kind of mode, and ups and downs. And the trip that were supposed to take, I think, 2 years took 5.5 or something like that. Yeah, it's an amazing read.
Yeah, it sounds wonderful. Circling the Sun. I'll definitely have that in the show notes page. And what advice would you give your younger self?
If I had to pick one, it would be stop thinking and start doing.
It's huge. All right, Sara, share with us a success quote or a mantra and why it has meaning for you.
The one that I keep coming to is one dream could change your life. I stumbled upon it on my stroll the first time ever that I was in Chinatown in New York City, and you know how they sell a ton of those framed artworks, and that was one of them. And I hung it. It was the only piece of anything that I had on the wall in my dorm room my freshman year, all 4 years in college, grad school, and now it's above my bed in the bedroom, so I can see it every single day. One dream could change your life.
I love that. And lastly, Sara, what is the best way for those listening to connect with you?
There are a ton of ways. If you're on social media, look me up, Sara Speicher, Sara Speicher, or just go on my website where I actually have a ton of free downloads, including the best-selling book that I co-authored called Bold. You can download the PDF version. www.saraoblakspiker.com.
And you can find all the links and resources shared in this episode at womentakingthelead.com, or you can use the short link, which is womentl.com. Sara, thank you so much for taking the time. I know you have a baby in the other room napping, and we've been crossing our fingers, hoping that she wouldn't wake up, and we made it. So thank you so much for taking the time to inspire and enlighten us. We're all better for having met you.
Thank you, Jody, for the opportunity.
Thank you for joining me on Women Taking the Lead. Were you inspired to take some action today, but maybe don't know where to start? Or maybe you have so many great ideas you can't decide where to focus your attention. Don't let stress or overwhelm stop you from having the career, the business, or the life you want to live. Head over to womentakingthelead.com/coaching or use the short link womentl.com/coaching to sign up for a consultation with me. And to strengthen you on your leadership journey, I'd like to send you off with a quote from Marianne Williamson, so here goes. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Again, thank you for joining me, and here's to your success.